Look at the most useless hobby you have right now, the one you feel guilty for wasting time on. Now let me show you how that exact type of distraction built a billion-dollar empire. We live in a hyper-optimized world. From the moment you wake up, society tells you that every single second of your day must be monetized, productive, or leading directly to your professional goals. Hustle culture has convinced us that if a side interest does not generate income, it is a waste of time. If you like playing video games, painting miniatures, knitting, birdwatching, or reading obscure history books, you have probably felt that creeping sense of guilt. You sit down to enjoy your hobby, and a voice in the back of your head whispers that you should be working, you should be building your business, you should be upskilling. But what if I told you that this guilt is completely misplaced? What if I told you that the most successful people in history did not achieve their massive breakthroughs by grinding 24 hours a day, but by engaging in seemingly pointless, bizarre distractions? Let me take you back in time to the late 1940s. I want to introduce you to a prominent chief executive officer who is facing total, catastrophic ruin. His company is millions of dollars in debt. The post-war economy has completely devastated his overseas markets. His primary products, which cost fortunes to produce, are failing miserably at the box office. His own brother, who serves as the financial genius of the company, is practically begging him to focus, to cut costs, and to save their dying studio. This man is Walt Disney, and the year is 1947. The Walt Disney Studio is on the verge of collapse. Masterpieces like Pinocchio and Fantasia have bombed financially. The company has survived a bitter, highly publicized labor strike that shattered the family culture Walt had tried so hard to build. Walt himself is on the edge of a nervous breakdown. His doctor sits him down and gives him a stark warning. The doctor tells him that if he does not find a way to relieve his stress, he is going to die. He needs a hobby. He needs something completely unrelated to animation, something that has absolutely nothing to do with the movie business. So, instead of working harder, instead of locking himself in his office to micromanage his animators and fix his broken company, Walt does something that appears utterly absurd. He starts playing with toy trains. But because this is Walt Disney, he does not just buy a simple train set for his living room, he becomes completely, obsessively consumed by miniature live steam railroads. He decides to build a fully functioning 1/8 scale railroad right in the backyard of his new home in Holmby Hills, California. He names it the Carrollwood Pacific Railroad. Walt transforms his property into a complex network of tracks complete with a massive S-curve, a custom-built trestle bridge, and an underground tunnel that he forces his wife to let him dig right through her beloved flower garden. He spends hours upon hours in his newly built machine shop getting his hands covered in grease and soot. He builds a beautiful, meticulously detailed steam locomotive that he names the Lily Bell, after his wife. Every single weekend, while his company is bleeding money and his financial backers are pulling their hair out, Walt Disney can be found sitting on top of a tiny wooden train car, shoveling real miniature coal into a tiny firebox and driving his train around his backyard. He invites his neighbors over, he blows the whistle, he waves at people as he chugs along at 10 miles per hour. To the outside world, and especially to his brother Roy and their bankers, this is the ultimate useless hobby. It is an embarrassing distraction. Here is a man whose empire is crumbling, and instead of trying to save it, he is playing a child's game in his backyard. They think he is running away from his responsibilities. They think he has lost his mind, but they do not understand what is actually happening inside Walt's brain. They do not understand the incredible power of combinatorial play. You see, while Walt is riding that tiny train, feeling the steam on his face, and watching the physical landscape roll by, an idea is forming. For his entire career, Walt has been trapped in the two-dimensional world of animation, flat drawings on flat screens. But the backyard railroad is physical, it is spatial, it is a tangible experience that he can share with his friends and family in the real world. He starts to wonder what if this train was not just in my backyard? What if I built a massive, full-sized railroad? And what if, when people rode this railroad, there were amazing, immersive things to look at along the way? What if I built a physical world that families could actually walk into? This seemingly useless hobby, this expensive, time-consuming distraction, becomes the direct genesis of Disneyland. Walt realizes that his passion for trains and physical model making can be combined with his studio's storytelling abilities. He gathers a group of his most trusted employees, plucks them out of the animation department, and creates a completely new, secret company called Weed Enterprises, which would later be known as Walt Disney Imagineering. He funds this new venture by borrowing against his own life insurance policies because his brother and the bankers flat out refused to fund such a ridiculous idea. When Disneyland opens in 1955, it features a grand, full-scale steam railroad circling the entire perimeter of the park. It is the very first attraction designed for the park, and it fundamentally changes the trajectory of the Disney company forever. Disneyland becomes an unprecedented, world-shattering success. It pulls the company out of debt and transforms it into a multi-billion-dollar empire. The theme parks eventually generate revenue that dwarfs the studio's box office returns. And it all started because Walt Disney permitted himself to waste time on a useless hobby. So why does this happen? Why do distractions lead to such massive breakthroughs? To understand this, we have to look at the neuroscience of how the human brain actually solves complex problems. When you are hyper-focused on your work, when you are staring at a spreadsheet, agonizing over a business plan, or trying to force a creative breakthrough, your brain is utilizing its executive function. This is a very narrow, highly rigid state of thinking. It is great for executing known tasks, but it is terrible for generating novel solutions. You cannot force a paradigm shift through sheer willpower. But when you step away from the problem and engage in a hobby, something magical happens. When you paint or garden or play a video game, your brain switches gears. It activates what neuroscientists call the default mode network. This is the background processing system of your mind. Because your hobby is low stakes but highly engaging, it occupies the anxious, conscious part of your brain, leaving your subconscious completely free to roam, connect disparate ideas, and solve the high-stakes problems you left back at your desk. Albert Einstein famously called this combinatorial play. Whenever Einstein hit a massive roadblock in his physics research, he did not just sit at his chalkboard and stare at the math until his eyes bled. He would pick up his violin and play Mozart. He would lose himself in the structure and harmony of the music. And it was almost always during these useless musical sessions that the solutions to his most complex equations would suddenly pop into his head. The music gave his brain the structural framework it needed to understand the physics. This is why you must stop feeling guilty about your side interests. Your hobbies are not distractions from your main goal. They are the secret incubators for your next massive breakthrough. The most brilliant innovations in human history occur at the intersection of two completely unrelated fields. Think about Steve Jobs. When he was a young, broke college dropout, he decided to drop in on a calligraphy class. It was a completely useless pursuit. He had no intention of becoming a professional calligrapher. He just found the typography beautiful and fascinating. He learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, and about what makes great typography great. 10 years later, when he was designing the first Macintosh computer, that exact useless knowledge came rushing back. He designed the Mac to have beautiful, proportional fonts. Before that, computers just had ugly, monospaced, robotic text. That single artistic hobby revolutionized personal computing and helped build the foundation of Apple's design philosophy. So how can you actually harness this power? How can you map your own useless hobbies to your career and turn them into your greatest competitive advantage? I have developed a simple 3-step framework called the Hobby Career Matrix to help you do exactly that. Step 1 is skill deconstruction. I want you to look at your favorite useless hobby and break it down into its core micro skills. Do not look at the surface level, look at the mechanics. For example, if your hobby is playing complex strategy video games, you are not just pushing buttons, you are practicing resource allocation, risk management, rapid decision-making under pressure, and long-term planning. If your hobby is knitting, you are practicing pattern recognition, spatial translation, patience, and fine motor precision. If you rebuild old car engines, you are mastering reverse engineering, systematic troubleshooting, and mechanical sympathy. Write down the abstract skills your hobby forces you to develop. Step 2 is identifying the career bottleneck. Look at your primary business or your main professional field. What is the biggest problem you are currently facing? What is the wall you keep hitting? Maybe you are struggling to market a new product. Maybe you are having trouble managing your team. Maybe your code keeps breaking or your sales pitches are falling flat. Write down the exact bottleneck that is holding you back from the next level of success. Step 3 is forcing the intersection. This is where the magic happens. I want you to deliberately take the micro skills you identified in Step 1 and forcibly apply them to the bottleneck you identified in Step 2. Ask yourself a ridiculous question. How would a master knitter solve this marketing problem? How would a strategy gamer manage this struggling sales team? By forcing these two unrelated worlds to collide, you break out of the conventional thinking of your industry. If you work in finance, everyone else is thinking like a finance person. But if you work in finance and you think like an architect, or a jazz musician, or a model train builder, you have an unfair advantage. You will see structural solutions and rhythmic patterns that your competitors cannot even comprehend. You are cross-pollinating ideas, and that is where billion-dollar empires are born. The truth is, the most successful people in the world are polymaths. They are deeply interested in the world around them. They do not shut out everything else in the name of productivity. They embrace their curiosities, no matter how weird, niche, or unprofitable they might seem at first glance. They understand that a diverse mind is a resilient mind. When you optimize every second of your day for pure output, you are actually killing your long-term potential. You become a machine, and machines are easily replaced. But a human being with a unique, strange, completely individualized combination of hobbies and professional skills, that is a unicorn. That is someone who can invent Disneyland. That is someone who can put beautiful typography on a personal computer. That is someone who can change the world. So the next time you sit down to play your favorite video game, or paint a miniature, or tinker with a broken radio in your garage, I want you to banish that feeling of guilt. You are not wasting time. You are fueling the background processing engine of your brain. You are building out a unique mental architecture that nobody else in your industry possesses. You are gathering the raw materials for your next massive breakthrough. Lean in to your weird interests. Defend your free time violently. Give yourself the permission to be absolutely terrible at something just for the sheer joy of doing it. Because one day, perhaps years from now, you will be facing an impossible problem in your career, and the exact solution you need will come to you, not from a textbook, not from a business seminar, but from the most useless hobby you ever loved. If this video changed how you view your free time, hit the subscribe button for more stories on how the greatest minds actually work.